Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're going to be talking about my TBR for the month of October. Now, last month I watched a lot of TV, I was studying a lot, so I wasn't really feeling like reading, and that made me kind of fall into a little bit of a slump, I guess you could call it. I kind of fell out of the habit of reading for fun, and I have been for the last couple months, right? So there was kind of an uptick there for a bit in August, and then it kind of came back down. And so I'm not really willing to commit myself to a big TBR, right? But I still have a lot of things I want to read, and my collection is growing much faster than I've been reading it lately. And maybe it's time to slow down, but I'm not ready to do that just yet. I still want to build out my collection just a little bit more before I slow down for a bit. So I'm kind of unsure about how to deal with the near future in terms of my TBRs and my collection, right? But I do know how to deal with this month, and that is by having a rather small TBR, by only committing to reading 5 or 6 books. And I think that's what I'm going to do today. So there's a bunch of stuff from last month that I might get to, probably won't though, but the stuff that I want to target this month is fantasy stuff that relates to monsters or has some sort of like Monster Girl vibe to it, right? So to start us off, I have Mirka Andolfo's Unnatural. I bought this as, I think my parents bought this for me as my birthday gift, as one of my birthday gifts, or they gave me money to buy it, I can't remember. But this is by Mirka Andolfo. This is the first series, and it's pretty interesting. It does have this kind of like erotic Monster Girl vibe to it, I think. It's definitely a mature title, and it says it's a romance and thriller title back here. So, mostly I'm picking this up for the Monster Girl aspect and because I like Mirka Andolfo stuff. So, that's the first thing I'm going to read this month. Hopefully it's going to be fun and interesting, and I'll do a review for the whole thing since I have it collected all that way, right? So, yeah, then another Mirka Andolfo book that I want to read here is Mirka Andolfo's Mercy. This is a gothic horror type book that deals with a woman in Canada, I think. Let me read the back of this for you. Washington State, so it's not Canada, but near it. During the frenzied historical era known as the Klondike Gold Rush, so that's the gold rush that happens in the North, a mysterious lady called Lady Helene arrives in Woodsboro, in a mining town close to the Canadian border, where the streets are flooded with blood, and it seems to be some sort of vampire type thing, right? So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I think she does the artwork for this, so it's going to be good regardless of whether the story is or not. So, I'm kind of excited about that. And so that's number 2 on our TBR today. Then I have a light novel, Her Majesty's Swarm. This is a Monster Girl book. It's about this woman that's some sort of like spider queen. Let me read the back of it for you. So it says, what do you do when a monstrous army of insects implores you to lead them to victory? Rise to the task and become queen of the arachne, of course. Our protagonist has found herself in a world similar to that of her favorite real-time strategy game, although things are a little bit different from her knowledge of the game. So she decides to take the familiar post of the leader of the arachne, but how can she bring victory to her swarm? It's the question that it poses here. So basically, it's kind of like I'm a spider, so what? But it's also a Civ 5 type game. So that's cool. Sounds pretty interesting. I have a few of these. So if I read this first one and I like it, I might read the rest of them. However, I do want to mention that this doesn't have any illustrations in it. And I find that to be kind of sucky. Like, obviously, it means that in Japan, they didn't put any illustrations in it. But it kind of sucks because when you read a light novel, you do kind of expect those, and partially that's why I'm willing to pay, the $15 price tag that a novel like this has compared to like a Western novel, right? So, yeah, so it is a little bit disappointing in that sense, but at least the cover is nice and the story seems to be interesting. So I'll read that here soon. Then a novel, we have Edgar Rice Burroughs' Monster Men. This is kind of like a Frankenstein Island type of thing. Follows this guy called Number 13, who was the last and most successful of Dr. Von Horn's attempts to create life out of lifeless chemicals. He's not misshapen. He's actually quite human looking. and he finds an unwilling prisoner woman in this island, and so he decides to save her. And so it's basically Frankenstein's monster, but he's a hot dude, and he saves this hot chick. So that sounds cool. That sounds interesting. Okay, and then Chain Soldier. This isn't really a Monster Girl thing, but it's kind of close. So yeah, don't really have too much to say about this. You guys already know what this is, and you guys know that I like it. So there really isn't too much else to say about it beyond the fact that I'm excited to read these. And then we have Sora in the Monster House, in the House of Monsters, I guess. It's gonna take me a while to get used to that because I learned it one way, and now having to change my version of it, it's gonna be difficult. But it has monsters, so I thought it was good for Halloween. So there you go. And then finally, I wanted to do some sort of thriller novel or kind of like spy novel thing, read along at some point this year, and I never got around to it, and I could never find a good time to do it. So I'm just gonna throw in a thriller novel here, or a detective novel, and that's gonna be Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express. This was the cheapest copy that they had at Half Price Books, so that's why it's a movie cover, but I'm pretty excited about it. I've heard a lot of good things about Agatha Christie, even though I've never read anything of hers. But if I like this, I'm probably going to upgrade to a much nicer edition. There's these nice Barnes & Noble editions that have a bunch of the of this character's stories, the Hercule Poirot stories. So hopefully I'll enjoy that. So there you go. That's the TBR. Everything else that I read this month is going to be because I felt like reading it, and it. You know, some of it might be great, some of it might be bad. I might not even finish this TBR. I'm not really sure. I have had a difficult time engaging with my books lately, even though I still am enjoying the act of buying them. So hopefully that gets fixed this month. And if it doesn't, we'll wait it out and see what happens later on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do really appreciate it. I will do the giveaway soon. I just haven't gotten the books that I needed from 10 Type Books. So as soon as I get them, I'll do their giveaway video. And thank you guys very much for watching. So yeah, I really appreciate it, and see you guys later.